Video is Unit 5, Learning Target 4. It's designed for students that go to Grant County Middle School and are preparing for a test in 6th grade social studies. This learning target is a fun one, I think, because it's about extreme weather. It's titled Determine the Causes and Impacts of Extreme Weather on People in the Caribbean. Now, when we talked about this, we didn't just talk about people in the Caribbean. We talked about all kinds of different types of extreme weather, from hurricanes, which is what the people in the Caribbean typically have, to droughts, to tornadoes, to blizzards, to cold spells. There's just a great big variety, flooding, a great big variety of extreme weather that happens. And so just know that most often, though, the people that live in the Caribbean deal with those tropical cyclones, which in the Atlantic Ocean they're known as hurricanes. In the Pacific, they're known as typhoons, and in the Indian Ocean, they're known as cyclones. And so that's typically what they will see. Usually when a storm of this magnitude hits and makes landfall, we will call it a natural disaster. Why will we call a tropical cyclone a natural disaster? Because it is overall causes lots of devastating destruction. And so all of this mass destruction in an area due to Mother Nature allows us to give it a name. We went over the procedures for how a hurricane gets its name and how it alternates through the alphabet between males and females, and every other year they alternate with what they start with. But anyway, when a natural disaster hits, usually our government as well as the Red Cross will go in and help out the victims of that particular natural disaster. Other things that are a part of this particular learning target is knowing the parts of a hurricane. It has 3 parts. Starting at the middle of the hurricane, we have the eye of the storm. This is the middle. It's usually pretty calm in the eye of a storm. However, right around it, at the eye wall, the second part of the hurricane, this is where the most damaging winds occur. This is where all heck's going to break loose. And then on the outer edges of the storm, we have what's called the rain bands. Now, of those parts of the storm, what's the most devastating part? Now, the eye wall is very devastating. However, that doesn't cause the most damage in the storm. It's not the rain, it's not the wind, it's not that part of the storm that causes the most damage. It's the storm surge that the hurricane brings with it from the ocean. You see, all that churning that the hurricane does forces everything outward, just like it creates the eye by forcing all the clouds outward through that spinning motion. The same thing happens with the water, and so this creates the ocean levels to rise along the coastlines. And this is what was so devastating about Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, was because Hurricane Katrina made the levees that surrounded New Orleans fail, and the city of New Orleans actually sits below sea level. And so when those levees failed, the water filled in much like a bowl, and so the storm surge was clearly the thing that was most costly when it comes to amount of devastation done in dollars wise as well as in physical damage. The storm surge is what creates the most damage, not the wind or anything of that nature. So anyway, that pretty much sums up this particular learning target. Good luck.